So, John, are you here for a conversation?
Sure.
You did come for a conversation.
I just wanted to get involved. I have no idea how this is.
Well, it's unscripted.
I love it.
So it's unscripted. So we're going to let you hold that. So in case you say something, all right, people can hear you. So you'll kind of want it kind of in this range. I have mine kind of on my collar, so I don't need to share with you.
Thank you.
So
I
yeah,
got my
so
coffee too. So.
yeah. So this is Jon Shae, all right, and so we've been actually playing the 4 songs during breaks. So if
cool.
from time to time I have to go to the restroom or get something to drink, so we'll put on a song and people look at an empty bench for a few minutes.
Gotcha.
Okay, and so Steve or Joseph, so when I'm done talking with John, there's one of those 4 songs that is his song. So at the end of our conversation, I want to play that. And so the name of the song, something about...
I'm on the spot, it's too early.
About the way.
The final word.
The final word.
The final word.
Okay,
yeah.
so just have that ready. So when we're done with the conversation, we're going to play the final word. And we'll talk about that a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Toward the end. So
that's great.
First of all, John, I kind of want to ask you, because you're not in an official, like I've been talking to like the director of this organization and the person from this organization, but you're not in an official role. Your profession is?
A nurse.
A nurse,
yep.
Right? So what has connected you, maybe both the how and why, but what has connected you with the unhoused population?
Yeah, it's a great question, Craig. First of all, thanks for doing this. I'm so thankful to see this going on. I love this. And what connected me, I'd have to go all the way back to my father, who actually was in prison with Ed Gein in the 50s in Waupun before I was born. And when I tell my story, I kind of go back to that place. Of course, it was a very dark time in my father's life. And my father got out after about a decade in the clink, as they say. And all he had was his sobriety at the time. And he got involved naturally in ministering to people in the community with addictions and homelessness and things like that. So by the time I was born, I grew up around this sort of environment. So like what Celebrate Recovery is now, my father started a similar program, and they actually met at Thrive, what was called Christian Assembly then. Okay. Him and Donnie Stepanek, who's still around. Donnie, if you're listening, hello. Him and Donnie started what they called Living Free, and it had a really, it was just a beautiful design. And so I would go with my dad to that, and there was always people. Sometimes my dad would even house homeless people in our house. Okay. Sometimes my brother and I did not really like that. We were going to high school, and then we had Willie next door and it's very close quarters in this very old house that we lived in. So I sort of grew up in that.
I had a little bit of the same experience with my parents. It started with stray animals.
Oh, okay.
And one day it turned into stray people.
Oh, wow.
You know.
Yeah.
So we have some family photos that look quite odd. So
wow,
how are they in your family? You know.
Yeah.
You know, and go home from college and your room is occupied. So, but it's a good legacy.
For sure. No, it is.
It's a good legacy to have. So go.
Yeah.
Ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, my dad was back in the day. He was like a legend, and because he was just so personable. Everyone loved him, and he had just a lot of rapport with the community that we look at as the unhoused or the addicted, and so people in town knew him, and they all came to his funeral and spoke up at it, and we have that on. We've recorded that, so I was able to listen to that recently even, and so it's neat to hear those old testimonies of my dad's ministry. And so I grew up like that, and then I naturally have a proclivity to that, so I live nearby, I jog around, and pretty soon I just started reaching out and talking to homeless people. And when I moved back here, I went to Madison for school, moved back, and anyway, started doing that. And it was, some of those conversations were really, really memorable, and I'm grateful that some of the people I spoke with, I was able to help bring them into the Bridge Street and get enrolled in Bridge Street. And in fact, so I've seen a few of them, some success stories, and like I've listened to you and Keith talk about there's some really painful failures at times, but of course we believe we have eternal hope. So we believe that the story is not over, even though it may seem to be over. In some people's estimation, we don't lose hope, and so I've always got hope. And yeah, if Dustin, if you're listening to this, I love you, and I pray for you, and I'm thinking of you. So yeah, there's a few people like that. So yeah, that's just volunteer, helping out.
All right, so as you've gotten involved, personal love by building friendships, encouraging people, trying to get them into programs, things like that, what have you learned most about the unhoused community or people who are struggling with homelessness and/or addiction, and/or mental illness? Because there's others that maybe have never encountered a homeless person,
right?
And so they might have ideas of, well, this is what it's like. So what have you learned about the unhoused
Thanks, Craig.
population?
I was actually prepared to ask you most of the questions. So I feel
we'll get to that.
Okay,
we'll get to that.
Okay, good. These are great questions. And I don't have an easy, quick answer. What's the thing that I've learned the most? I guess I would have to go to the thing that is maybe the most, the thing that I feel like saying in response to this maybe is, these are people. These are people. And someone might ask, well, what do you mean by that, John? And there's a time in my life where I probably wouldn't have had a good answer to that. I just would have said, these are real people. What does that mean? There's something deep about that. I believe we're made in God's image. I believe we are imbued, therefore, with dignity and respect. We're worthy of respect because we are made in God's image and created in God's image. And that to me today is a more satisfying answer than I ever had. Even when I was younger, I didn't have an answer for that. And because of that, we are very complicated and in an exquisite way. We have all these factors of us that make us who we are and make us, we're interesting. So I find myself engrossed in conversations with homeless people because they have stories, they have beautiful, many beautiful dimensions to their lives, and like all of us, they have uncomely bits and things that just we need to that work out in community that come to the fore and that we can converse about. And so we're complicated, we're beautiful because we're made in God's image, and we have more to us than meets the eye, and I think sometimes more than what society says about us. Sometimes I think mental health is like that word comes up a lot, and it's like mental health. Well, these are also still moral people, and they make decisions, and sometimes they make good decisions, and sometimes they make decisions that aren't so good, and they're responsible for those. They actually are aware of these things. It's not just, it's not a past, like they have no moral aspect or dimension to who they are. So it's cool to see some people, sometimes not cool, but in a way cool. I reconnected with people from high school I've seen out here, and wow. Yeah, and remember those conversations well, and I live not too far away from one that was, I would say, famously unhoused for a while. People knew him, and I'll keep him anonymous now, but he was pretty well known in the community, and now he's housed. He was someone that was in the streets for several years here, and a lot of people were concerned about him, and he's actually living not too far away from me.
Okay.
So I see him, and I'll run out of my house. I work from home usually, and I'll just talk to him, and I said, man, I was praying for you so much back in the day. And he remembers me. And he said, thank you. And one of the things that I remember that just sticks out in my mind so much is that thank you that came from him was really genuine, And it's, you don't always get that.
Right. Yeah.
As a nurse, I've cared for many people in my life, and sometimes you just get hit and they throw feces at you or whatever they're doing. You're not getting thanked. So, but that meant a lot to me, and I'll never forget that.
Good.
So,
all right. So you came prepared with some things to talk about. So I'll let you ask.
Yeah, I guess I did fear asking the same question because I wish I would have stayed up all night like everyone else. I'm sure that this question has been asked, but
not necessarily. We don't know. And if it is, the people listening now could be different people listening than earlier.
this is true.
So
That's good. Yeah. So I guess I'll just ask, how do you deal with, how does this, as Bridge Street, would you say this is an inclusive endeavor? How is this bringing in, multiple people from the community and every walk of life, and how are we addressing that need that is often so spoken out about in the community?
So this event, Conversation on the Bench?
No, I mean,
specifically?
Bridge Street Mission as a
what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
What Bridge Street Mission is doing.
Yeah. Okay. So one of our core values is community. So I talked with this a little bit with Keith, but we focus a little more on the community aspect of that. We're trying to get our men into community because they need that.
Right.
Excuse me. But also, Bridge Street Mission is the community serving.
Right.
All right, and we really want to kind of keep that in mind, and we want to create, and this is the word I heard Tracy Tappy share early on, is that Bridge Street Mission is an avenue for people who want to get involved and make a difference, but don't know how to. And so I think that's really important. We're a very volunteer-intensive organization. We work hard we are definitely a faith-based organization. We're trying to meet people in crisis and move them towards success. We're doing it through the power of the gospel.
Yeah.
But excuse me, I've been talking
Yeah.
for a long time. But we want it to be a community effort. Obviously the faith community is going to be a big part of it.
Yeah.
But we also know that there's other people, even if they're not in the faith community or even the same faith community as us, they want to make a difference.
Right.
In people's lives.
Right.
And so we're very but that happens through proximity and through relationships. So
Yeah.
a lot of times people who came to help end up, and I've had a number of volunteers say, I came thinking I was going to help somebody, and I walked away benefiting more than the people I was helping. That's a common statement.
Yep.
For the people that get involved.
So true.
So we want to be, and so you have to be intentional about that.
Yeah.
So there's sometimes that may be a specific, because not every church has all the exact same beliefs.
Yep.
We want to be core about, who Jesus is, what he did for us, and then the life we should live. But then there's some other doctrines that may be a little more negotiable.
Yeah.
Or maybe, but we're going to be intentional about sticking to the core of the gospel.
Amen. That's good.
But part of the core of the gospel is, I think you said it, that everybody, regardless of their belief, regardless of their lifestyle, is created in the image of God and are worthy of dignity and respect.
Amen.
And so our desire might for them to have the same kind of relationship with Jesus that we have.
Yeah.
But even if they don't, they're worthy of dignity and respect.
That's wonderful, Craig. That is beautiful. It's great to hear you sharing like this, because I think that speaks volumes about what this ministry is about, and it's why I love supporting Bridge Street Mission, and I wish I could do more. So what are some of the easy ways that people can get involved? People that have families, people that have children and busy schedules, what are some of the easy ways they can help out?
Yeah. Well, and I've been during the course of the 24 hours, I've been sharing this on behalf really of, because all the organizations that have come to the bench to discuss, not just Bridge Street Mission.
Yeah.
But all those organizations need a number of things. They need financial support. If they're a faith-based organization, they need prayer support. But all of them have opportunities for people to get involved. At Bridge Street Mission, that involvement could be hands-on volunteer involvement. That could be gift in kind, which is basically giving food, toiletries, bedding. And for a lot of it is using their skill set. And we have a tiered volunteer program, which means some of our volunteer opportunities are open to anyone in the community. Some of our volunteer opportunities are best served by people from a faith community.
Gotcha.
And then some of our volunteer opportunities, you almost feel like you're getting hired.
Yeah.
You know, and we tier that based on the risk to our clients, the connection, you know, and influence, the carrying of our organizational reputation.
Yeah.
And that, so we take all our volunteer opportunities, we place them in one of those buckets, and then we let people choose. Here's at what level do you think you best fit?
Sure.
And that allows a broader community to be involved. Now, more direct answer to your question, it seems like in our organization and the other organization is one of the biggest opportunities revolves around food. Because you know, we do over 30,000 meals, you know, a year. Some of these other organizations are doing large meals too. The shelter, you know.
I heard you talking about that earlier this morning. So there's families cooking meals. There's a lot of opportunity to cook meals right now.
Yeah, and that's neat because it's very relational. So you get to meet the person you're feeding, and you get to express their gratitude.
Is there a schedule where that people can see where they can kind of fall in and cooking a meal here and there?
We kind of have a schedule. We don't have it. We're not that agile yet that we have it posted publicly.
One more job for Cheryl.
Yeah. So it really becomes something that Donna, our volunteer coordinator, manages.
Yeah.
And so we really encourage people to reach out, you know, to Donna. She's there every Thursday, and say, "Hey, I'm interested in meals. Where can I plug in?" And she can plug into those.
Oh, that's nice.
She can plug into those openings.
That's very good. Yeah, I had one more question for you. Oh, so what are some of the biggest material needs you guys have, like clothing and things like that? Do you have like a list of things that are top priority right now?
Yep. So right now, since we just moved into our new outreach center, we have to stock up that pantry.
Okay.
And so right now, food items.
Okay.
And especially as we enter into the fall Thanksgiving season, so those kinds of food items.
Food items, pantry food items.
Yep. And
pantry food items, you guys.
Yep. That's a big need for us right now.
We can do that.
So as we wrap up, I want to talk about the song.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we had an event, our Winter Gala last February.
Yeah.
And we took 4 of the people whose lives we were impacting through our ministry.
Yep.
And we set each of them up with a singer-songwriter like yourself.
Yep.
And with a visual artist to try to listen to their story and then tell their story through their medium.
Yes.
And so you participated in that. So
Yeah.
could you just comment on how that impacted you?
Oh, yeah.
And you can even introduce your song for us.
Sure. Thanks, Craig. It's funny, being a musical artist is like the right side of my brain. Thinking in that way and having a job it's sometimes so. Creativity is something I love to do, and it sometimes can take me. Like I'm sure many of you who are listening who love creative art, it can be consuming. So, as I sit here too, I'm thinking of my day and the things I need to accomplish, and and the things musically I want to accomplish, and that's sometimes hard to manage. So doing this project was something I had to allocate time for. And of course I have a business, I have a family and other commitments, just like Craig does here. So I'm very appreciative of Craig doing this. I think it's wonderful. So yeah, doing this song challenged me in many ways, had me think of, just things I normally wouldn't think of maybe in my work week. And I got to know Richard, who was really the star of the song, in a sense. And also I would say Jesus is the real star of the song. So I kind of blended these two things in a creative way, acoustically. I did an acoustic song, use a looper. Lately I've been doing a lot of electric stuff. I was just telling Joe, who's helping with the sound today, and I love electric guitar, and I'm doing a lot more of that, and hoping to do more songwriting. So this was an acoustic song, blending in these two stars of the story, and the theme was my story. So I just blended Richard's story into really the gospel story as I see it in about 3 minutes, and try to do that with a looper and bring glory to Christ and really kind of honor Richard. It was great to record Richard's story, to get to know him a little bit, and I see him around town sometimes and said hi to him a few times, but as you guys know, there's just never enough time in the day to spend with people, and I still wish I could spend more time with him, and I wish I could be at Bridge Street more, and so got to do this song, and it really, again, to me, it's the gospel story that subsumes our personal stories. I think to my father, to me, to my mother now, who's at the end of her life, to my son, to my friends and my family and faith. It's the gospel story. It's the fascinating thing to me that God chose to reveal his divine superlative truth and wisdom to us in this story. And I'll never tire of being amazed by that. This story with wise men and a star and a baby in a lowly manger and in a bloody cross, in an astonishing resurrection, and all this, and women at the tomb greeting Jesus and all this stuff. This story, you couldn't make this up. And Jesus on the road to Emmaus talking to these disciples and almost slapping them up in the head because they're so dim-witted. They don't understand that he's Jesus. He's resurrected. They're so slow to realize this. And this is the kind of story that will forever be amazing to me. And when I heard Richard's story, and I heard him talking about how Christ in this story, of this gospel story, touched his life and gave him hope, and of course really touched my life. And like you were saying, when we volunteer, we're more blessed and more encouraged, inspired when we get away from talking to some of these people and helping out and volunteering than they are, it seems. And I don't even know that to be true, but it certainly felt that way. Good. So yeah, great opportunity, and thankful for that.
All right. So here you're going to hear the final word.
That's right.
By Jon Shae.
That's right.
So all right. So go ahead and play that for us,
All
please.
Right. Thank you.